Welcome back to The Current, a podcast where we go beyond surface level business talk and get into the real experiences behind running businesses. Today, I'm joined by Stuart Gibbs from A J Robson Electrical. Now, what stands out about Stuart is that he represents something a lot of people in the trade will recognize. Someone who didn't just learn how to be a great electrician, but who had to learn how to run a business, lead people, keep standards high, and adapt year after year as the role keeps changing. Stuart has lived the transition from the tools into responsibility, decision making, hiring, training, and keeping up in an industry that quite frankly doesn't stand still. There's a huge amount of practical experience and hard-earned lessons here, and that's exactly why we're looking forward to this conversation. Stuart, it's so great to have you on The Current. How are we?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yourself?
Perfect. Thank you so much for coming on. Now, Stuart, we'd like to start with your story.
hmm
Now, we know you came up through the trade yourself. So how did that journey evolve from being on the tools right up to running the business you have today?
Yeah, so I completed my apprenticeship back in 2012 and then continued on doing kind of evening classes for an HNC in electrical engineering. During that time, I kind of focused more on designing installations, bespoke control systems, and then just naturally kind of evolved through the business, going into a bit business development, and then from there, kind of getting involved with the business and having good customer relationships, and naturally just kind of got to the point where I'm one of the directors now. So it's certainly been a big change from when I first started with a tool bag and a van. It's definitely a different set of skills that we need now.
Yeah. So what skills in particular did you suddenly realize that no one had trained you for and now you have to use these day to day? Could you maybe give us a little example?
Yeah, absolutely. Your day-to-day skills is what you learn during your apprenticeship to be on the tools and a qualified electrician. But when you start to move into managerial or leadership roles, those skills aren't necessarily taught. They've got to be learned as you go. And you're kind of talking about not doing the job yourself anymore, but delegating that to other people. You're thinking about encouraging, teaching, learning, just having good relationships with your staff as well. And then the management side as well, you've got to be aware of planning in your jobs, quoting these jobs, any documentation that comes along with every job nowadays. There's inevitably some kind of paperwork that follows off the back of that. And certainly a bit of negotiation as well, because everyone likes to get the best deal, whether that's a customer or ourselves with suppliers. All those sort of skills are something that you don't necessarily have when you're an electrician. And there's not a massive amount of awareness about getting these skills as you progress through a company. And it certainly doesn't come naturally to most people, and I would include myself in that. And it's not just once you've learned it, you can do your job. It's continually improving these skills as well.
Yeah, that's really practical. Thank you for sharing that as well. I guess it's not part of the syllabus in an apprentice, is it?
No, not really, no.
Amazing. So if you could, I'd like you to paint a picture for us about A J Robson Electrical today. What sort of work you guys are involved in and what it takes for someone like you behind the scenes to keep these standards high, the sort of things you find yourself doing, please.
Yeah, so at A J Robson, we predominantly work on industrial installation and maintenance. I would say about 70% of our work is in the hazardous area, which is kind of offshore transportable units. It's with a new focus within the last couple of years into renewable technologies. We also do all other general electrical installation and maintenance, but the majority of our business is industrial hazardous area. So yeah, it's basically keeping the standards as we want. We've got to not only delegate to the staff we've got, but make sure they're aware of what it is we're looking for. One way that we've looked at doing that is when we moved recently to a new jobbing system, we've got instant access to photos on site and stuff like that. So the guys can upload their images before and after, and we can kind of capture that. And if there's anything we need to discuss, we can do that whilst they're still on site, which is really helpful. But certainly keeping the guys trained as well is a big help, and making sure that our standards are kept high.
Yeah, sounds like there's more behind the scenes that people let on as well. So thank you for sharing. Yeah. What do you find takes most of your energy, your time these days? What do you find takes most of your time and energy?
Most of nowadays, I would say it's there's a lot of planning goes in. I would say over the last couple of years, we've seen a big change in customer requirements, going from arranging a job to be booked in to kind of more urgent and reactive works. So, you'll get a job and they'll be asking, can you do it today? And if not today, can you do it tomorrow? And that puts a real challenge on things, because if you're booking in advance, we'll typically book anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks in advance, and then you've got a customer who's been booked in for a few weeks. You can't then just suddenly move them to accommodate this other job that's come in. So That's one of the bigger challenges right now, I would say.
So, out of interest, what do you think's led customers to be more reactive and expectation of speed and deadlines? I mean, just curious your thoughts.
I'm not sure. I guess there's maybe a bit more visibility in certain areas, such as like car charging.
Mm.
That there's a lot of awareness around that, and just the fact that communication now is 24/7. It's no longer a 9 to 5 where you would contact someone. You're expecting responses during the evening and at weekends. So I think just that expectation, that shift of the communication as well, is just where customers or clients are expecting a quicker installation date than they've been getting.
Yeah, I guess it becomes the norm now, doesn't it? People have these 24/7 chatbots on their website, and I guess technology makes it more available. I
Yeah.
mean, leaning now into technology, we know the electrical industry is changing fast. You mentioned car chargers, which are becoming widely spread, and we know the regulations keep changing. Obviously, we've got a new one coming out very soon.
Yeah.
How do you keep how do you approach keeping up when everything seems to be moving at an almost daily rate?
It is difficult. We're thankfully part of a few different trade bodies that keep us well informed about changes. Certainly, it's kind of just having your kind of eyes open to what changes are going on and what technologies that are coming onto the market are worthwhile investing your time into and getting kind of manufacturer support and manufacturer training for them.
Yeah, how do you decide then what's worth adopting and what's just a lot of noise? Is there any particular process you guys go through? How you decide?
No, at all. I guess it depends on how many kind of discussions we would have around that with customers, and maybe not related to that at all. And it is generally a communication method. You'll speak to suppliers, you'll speak to customers who you do a large amount of work with, and just during those conversations, you'll speak about things that they've been seeing or interested in, or if you're speaking to your suppliers, what are they getting a lot of inquiries on? And you can kind of get a good feel from that about
Mm.
what areas are worth going into.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess reacting to the market and the needs
Mm.
of your clients, that's a good approach as well. And thinking about internal, you mentioned earlier, I mean, you mentioned now going to a new job system. And what sort of benefit would you say you've now been given by adopting new tools, technology, I guess software inside your business?
Yeah, I would say that the biggest benefit we had is customer engagement. On the tablets now, once we start the job or we're traveling to a site, that the customer now gets notification to say that there are electricians on the way, which
Wow.
is great. So that, they can be aware of when they're arriving. It also gives us the ability to view history of jobs. So if you go to the same site, you can view who was there before, what work they carried out, and any photos or notes that have been added to it. So having that ability, if you've got a recurring problem that someone goes to and they wonder what happened in the previous visits, instead of phoning up, who was that was here again, or messaging everyone and waiting for someone to get back to you, you can just look straight away and see exactly what happened. There's photos and just that instant access and having
Mm.
all that information to hand is probably one of the most beneficial parts of getting that software up and running.
Yeah, yeah. And these are the things that keep businesses moving in the background. Back of the days when paperwork and spreadsheets, now it's transitioning to these new software-based tools and now even AI implementation. We know a lot of companies have been to implement these things, and I guess it's all for the benefit not just of your business but of the customer. I like that perspective. You're thinking about them, how it benefits them.
Yeah, definitely. And the particular software that we've got is it's got a customer portal, so the customer can log into their own portal and they can view the active jobs, the status of them, and see if they're complete or if they're scheduled, and any notes that the electrician's left. So that visibility as well works really well. We've got some customers that exclusively use that to create new jobs as well and kind
Mm.
of keep track of where everything is. And we've also got customers who are not interested in that, and that's absolutely fine. But in terms of the paperwork side, we've seen a massive reduction in the paperwork. Before, you would get on a Monday morning, and the whole team would turn up in the office and they would have a mountain of paperwork to go through. And now that's all done instantly, which is great. So our kind of admin roles in the office have reduced from a full-time position down to part-time because of that. So it's made a massive impact.
And that's intelligent operations, about streamlining and efficiency. So you guys can do what you do best, turning up, giving the best electrical services you're known for. I'd
Exactly.
like to take a spoke now and start talking about hiring because, admittedly, it's probably one of the biggest challenges that people are facing across the trade right now. Now, what changes have you seen in the apprenticeships and the available talent pool?
So apprenticeships themselves, they've remained at similar levels from what I've seen. That there's been no major increase, but it's no secret that we've got a massive skill shortage here in Scotland and in the UK. And I think it's now with the type of work that's available, office-based or kind of working from home or even online, there's a lot of these get-rich-quick kind of trading platforms that are on the go. And I think the kind of education is missing from, that sounds too good to be true, where they're kind of looking at more on that side of the job market than trying to actually go to a traditional trade, which is a shame because, you know, we can really benefit from having additional resources in the industry. But in terms of the general talent pool, we have noticed that during every recruitment drive that the number of applications have reduced to the point that we're getting a handful at any given time. We've looked at this internally. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's nothing that we haven't thought it was to do with our own advert or hiring process, but we're comparable with other adverts out there, and they're running for a similar number of weeks. You see the same adverts going in alongside ours. And I'm not sure if that's just the skill shortage catching up with us, or if we're seeing people move out of the trade and into other industries. So the only reason I can think on that would be the kind of wage rates. We're kind of following the SJIB wage rate guidance in Scotland, and for the from 2017 to about 2013, you're looking at an annual increase of about 2.5%, and it wasn't until 2024 that they really saw a dramatic increase in wages. 7%, and then just last year 5%. And it continues like that over the next few years. So that's a welcome change to the industry because it's bringing the wages up to where they need to be to attract the talent to come in back into trades as well. But alongside that are the challenges too, because when you start having dramatic increases, you've got to increase your charge rate also, and trying to explain that to a customer who's been happy to accept the same rate over the last 5-6 years, and suddenly it's changing annually, gets quite difficult. And I was just thinking back actually to conversation we had with a customer not too long ago. We were discussing a job and they asked how much we charge, and I explained to them the charge rate, and they said, "Oh, that's a bit much. We thought an electrician was about £25 an hour." And I thought, maybe 10 years ago. I think it just highlights the need for an awareness as well that, everything is going up in price, and that includes the trades that you're hiring in.
Yeah, that's some really practical insights, and you're right. It's a big question, and I think people downplay the seriousness of the situation because we do need more talent coming up, not just for us but also for the future generations. And they're good. They are beginning to catch up with the rates and the expectations. But here's a more fun question. What would you say is your favourite part, or something you'd encourage someone younger to look into, to perhaps explore a career within the electrical industry? Is there any fun stories or anything you'd want to incentivize people with, anything you think that you've really enjoyed in your life?
So personally, throughout my career, I guess it's certainly a bit of a niche area, but we kind of did bespoke controls. So for me, it was having the freedom to speak to the client and say, what do you want the system to do? And then going away, designing it, building it and delivering it to them to say, here you go, let's see that. And I've been really fortunate, and it's taken me around the world to try and do some of these projects. So for that, I think it'll probably be one of my favorite moments, really.
Wow, around the world. You try to downplay that, but that sounds like a pretty awesome opportunity to me. Awesome, thank you. Now, Stuart, if you'd allow me, I'd like you to get in the back of my DeLorean, and I want to take you in the future. I want to take you to January the 1st, 2027. Now, I want you to look back on 2026. 26 has been a great year. You've achieved all that you wanted to achieve. You've had some new, ambitious talent coming up through the works. You've taken on bigger, better projects. You've had customers happier than ever. What would have to happen to make that true for A J Robson?
So that's a really difficult question, isn't it? I would say that for us to kind of look back, we would need to be looking at engagement from the team. So we need to make sure that the team are really engaged in what we're trying to deliver. So everyone knows that, this is not just a job that's been handed out to somebody on site. This is a bit of engagement to say what we're trying to do here. And I would certainly say that personally, I would like to see more of our guys go through the renewable technology training. I really want to promote that, and I really want to progress that into larger systems. Um, but generally speaking, I would say gathering a wider skill set across every electrician. We've got a load of different skills spread across all our electricians, but some of them have got skills that others don't, and trying to get that across everyone is going to be a huge, huge thing for us. So I guess that would be what I'd be looking at.
Sounds good. And we have no doubt that because of your work ethic and how much you have a passion about your job, I can tell that already by speaking to you. And also, you're wanting to do this ultimately for the client's benefit. We have no doubt that if we had this conversation next year, you'd be telling me just exactly how you made it happen and how you achieved all those things. So, Stuart, I'd now like to give you an opportunity. Take the mic.
Yeah, I guess. So we're based up in Aberdeen, and like I touched on before, we do a lot of industrial installation and maintenance, but into the renewable sector now. So solar PV and battery storage. So yeah, I guess just letting everyone know that's kind of what we're focusing on, where our priorities are, and being that we do the best possible job and are completely transparent with our customers.
Amazing. Sounds good. And we're looking forward to hearing what you guys do in the renewable energy sector. We know it's such an important thing to put effort in, especially in the environment, and we know it's going to be very successful. So, Stuart, I want to just thank you. Take a moment for thank you for sticking with it. And now you know it's not the easiest ship to sail in. We know many people do tend to jump off, especially when things get difficult. But you've been a true example of how, from a young age, you can get an apprenticeship and work your way up, have an amazing experience, go globally. Now you find yourself leading teams, inspiring the next generation, and just turning up every day and doing the best you can. We just want to thank you for that, and the industry should thank you. Stuart, thank you very much for coming on to the current.
No, thank you.
Thank you.